Sooner Nation, Thunder Nation, we are back. This is the Just Okay Sports podcast. That's Just Oklahoma Sports, and it's just okay, this thing that we call a podcast. I'm one of your villages, Daryl. I'm here with my friend Troy. Jared is bracing for impact. So, by the way, prayers up for everybody in the
Yeah,
Florida area
for sure.
as this thing starts heading their way. So, he's getting ready for that. So, he will not be on with us tonight. And it is Beat Texas Week, baby. Let's go. I love all of it. The Steve Sarkisian trending on Twitter, as always, as Sooner fans go ballistic in their slander of Steve Sarkisian is always fun each and every year. So it's going to be a good one. Troy, how are we, sir? It's been a while.
It's well, I just missed a week.
That's true. I guess that's true.
I had a daddy-daughter trip to Santa Fe. And
That's true.
my friend, it was so needed for my daughter and I to get
Yeah.
away, her and I, and it was so fun. We just had a blast. It was wonderful.
That's so
It was
cool,
so good.
man. I'm glad you guys had a
Um,
good time.
oh gosh, she was like, I don't want it to end, and I'm like, I don't either. And we had a nice little we had a nice
Babe,
little
we're not
little
coming home.
spray. It was so cool, man. It was awesome. If you get a chance, anybody gets a chance, have those daddy daughter times, man. Like
Oh, heck yeah.
it is
Yeah.
it is on another level.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Logan and I used to have that tradition. It's gotten broken now, and we do birthday trips for special birthdays, but we used to every year go to my family's ranch, and it was just me and her
Mhm.
daddy-daughter road trip to the ranch and run
Yep.
around down there for a weekend. It was the best. So glad you guys made it. Glad you guys are back safe. We got a lot tonight, man. We got Texas talk. We got just college football talk. And I think we're gonna have to talk some Thunder because we've already had a preseason game, baby. And I know that you're
I'm going
fired up.
tomorrow night. I'm
Let's
going tomorrow
go.
night.
Let's go. Scouting in person right here for the Just Okay Sports podcast is Troy Fight. That's why he's
Can't
headed
wait.
up
I
there.
can't wait.
He'll have all
It
kinds of
was
articles up on the webpage that we do not have. So it'll
it
be
was it was
great.
a deal. Yeah. It was a deal where my youngest son is so into basketball right now, and my 6-year-old, and he was like, somebody told him, I think I've told you this before, but somebody told him at school, was like, LeBron's the greatest ever, and he comes home, and is like, Dad, did you know that LeBron's the greatest ever? I'm like, who told you that? And and he goes, some of my buddies at school, and I was like, they're wrong. It's Michael Jordan. And I started
That's
showing him clips, and he was like, yeah, you're right. Michael Jordan is the best of all time. I'm like,
yes.
yeah,
Come
yeah, he
on.
is. I'm not even a Jordan fan, but that is blasphemous to say
Yeah. Yeah.
LeBron's better. And so, anywho, he promised me because I'm not letting him go to a football game yet. I want to watch all of the football game, but I told him I would take him. He would be the first person I'd take to a Thunder basketball game this year. And I was like, oh, preseason would be good because maybe we leave early. And so like
Right.
that'd be fine.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, let's get to it, shall we? Let's start with general college football. We don't normally do this, but man, it was a crazy weekend as OU was on the bye this past Saturday.
Thank the
Uh,
Lord.
yeah, apparently it's a good thing that they were. Look, I don't even know where to start. You know what? I will start here.
All right.
I still think that Tennessee is a very good team. Out of all these teams that got beaten, I think that they're a very good team. But I will say this, they better hope they win the SEC somehow, some way, and get a home game. Because
Hmm.
even when we had Kevin Hedrick, the Tennessee fan, on to kind of preview the game when they came here, he's like, there has been something about them being on the road and not playing very well. And they did that in Norman. I didn't think their offense looked very good at all. Now they've done it in Arkansas, but I guarantee you their next home game, they're going to blow up and go nuts. So they've got to figure out why they don't play well on the road, I think is their biggest thing. And the momentum, unfortunately, they were playing an offense that has enough to it that it just snowballed on them and got out of control, whereas OU just kept giving them the ball back when we had every opportunity to get the momentum rolling
Well,
on our
see,
side.
see, if you watch the game, because I was able to watch the game at a buddy's house when I was in Santa or Albuquerque, and um, dude, Arkansas did a lot of the Brent Venables playbook there,
Yes. Yeah.
and Nico, people forget he's still a true freshman.
A
Or no, he's a
redshirt
redshirt,
freshman.
but his first year,
Right.
right? So, oh, Nico's amazing. He can throw the ball literally 100 yards. Cool.
Yeah.
like, and you scored 70 against like School of the Blind. Great job. The but this is big boy football. Like you scored 25 against us. Who did they play right after us? Um,
um, no. Did they have the bye week after us?
they're 4-1, so yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they had the
did.
bye
Bye
week,
week after
and
us.
so
Yep.
and then you had 2 weeks for Arkansas, and you
Yeah.
you lay that down.
Yeah. It was not a great look, man. It was not a great look. Um,
I
that
think
was
their D
crazy.
line is legit. Don't get me wrong,
Oh, they're very
but
good.
geez,
Yeah.
which one of the games do you want to talk about that's crazy from Saturday?
I mean, it was enjoyable. I think the most enjoyable was watching A&M just throttle Missouri. And I mean, throttle Missouri.
They
I
did whatever
mean,
they wanted to.
with a quarterback that everybody did not want to play again,
Yeah,
basically for A&M. Like, and he just, but that's the thing. The quarterback made plays. He played good, but
yeah.
they ran it for like 350 yards on him.
Mm-hmm.
I That was fun. Then it was fun. The coach afterwards being asked about one of his players leaving a blanket for Theo East and him going, I think you should ask Eli about that. I've already checked and none of us had anything to do. I'm like, dude, if it comes out that Eli Drinkowitz seriously did that, not only is that dude weird, but like, come on, man. Like, I'm all for tactics. I'm all for poster board material, but creating poster board material, like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Come on, dude. Like, that's wild.
Doesn't that feels on brand for Eli though.
He's weird, dude.
That's what I mean. Like he's a different kind of cat. Like, but he's not like a different kind of cat like Mike Leach.
right.
Not
Yeah.
We're talking about just like you're strange, man.
He's
Like
just a
Leach was like,
strange goober, is what he is. Whereas Mike
yeah,
Leach was like the weird guy that's like, but you're so cool.
yeah,
Like,
like
you're the
I want to
weirdest
hang
dude
with
I
you.
know, but like,
Right.
come on, man. Come hang out with us. Like, say
But
something weird again.
Eli's that kid from school that you're like, I don't know about you, man. Like I don't want to hang out with you, but like
oh,
I feel
man.
sorry for you, but you're kind of like an a-hole at the same time. Like
Which,
I
and
can't figure
again,
you out.
A&M's a little bit like some of these other teams we've talked about. Their D line's really good. Like, even against Notre Dame, their D line was wreaking havoc. Their offense was
Yeah,
just atrocious against Notre
yeah,
Dame, and
yeah.
they've kind of figured some things out. So I
But
liked that
but
one.
for OU fans, like screw you, Missouri.
Oh
Like
yeah,
and the boy that should have stayed with us had a brutal game.
he had a rough day. He had a rough day. There's no doubt. He had a rough. Now, by the way, I think it's always because we always say this about people when they talk about OU. I don't know if Caden Green's hurt. I don't know if he's dealing with some kind of
Yeah.
nagging injury or whatever, but he did have a rough day. There's no question about that. Um, so that was crazy. But dude, I mean, I saw Vanderbilt up 14-0 on Alabama. I was like, okay, that's cute. Like Alabama decided to sleepwalk in the game, and this is going to be 42-14 at the end of
Hmm.
this whole thing. And dude, it just they never ever went
Nope.
away.
Nope.
Like, and I would agree. Teddy and Gabe were talking about this, and man, I fully agree. I think the most impressive thing throughout that game was the amount of movement their offensive line got against Alabama's defensive line.
Yep. Did
I
you hear
mean,
what Joe
they
Klatt said
no,
about Bama? Joe
no,
Klatt, yesterday or maybe it was today, said uh, all Alabama is right now is the Lincoln Riley Oklahoma teams.
yikes.
He's like zero defense, and they're gonna have to score 35 to 40 to win.
I mean, maybe, but that defense looked pretty salty for 3 quarters against Georgia. And that's what's wild. I mean, they basically just absolutely abused Georgia and then kind of took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter and all of a sudden woke up in the middle of a football game that they had to go win, and they did.
That's
And
just
then
like that's just heart right there. Like you got to prepare every single game. to the fullest. You got to play every single game to the fullest. Like, come on. Like, if you can do it, do it. If you can't do it, like that's on you.
Yeah,
Okay. If
yeah.
you don't
How
do it,
about
like it's
you?
on
What was
you.
your favorite game the whole weekend of all the chaos?
I had two of them.
I left them open for you. You're welcome.
Thank you. My two faves were Minnesota and West Virginia. It was so good. It's so good.
Oh, dude, USC fans are shook right now.
They should be.
They're shook because they
What
thought
is
that
he?
LSU game was they thought that was the like in stone. Our defense is legit. This offense can't be. And now we're finding out LSU's not that great.
Yeah.
They're very average, I guess is the better way to say it. And dude,
What's
it's
Lincoln Riley's record? Like he's lost 7 of his last 12 or something like that.
yeah, it's pretty rough
That's amazing.
with a Heisman winner.
With a Heisman winner. Yes. That is awesome. They've already got guys like Bear Alexander being like, "Yeah, I'm sitting out into the transfer portal."
Yeah.
Now that dude's an idiot, but
Yeah, I mean he's a
uh,
head case, obviously. Although Lincoln's basking in the glory that he stole a recruit from OU, so that's his big win right now.
which one
But
did he get?
Floyd Picard, the guy that decommitted that everybody thought Miami was in on, he's now committed to USC.
They just
So
gave him a bunch of money.
yes,
Michigan losing again, and so now we're like, is Michigan that good? Like
I
Michigan's
think
got an
Michigan's
okay,
kind of what we are, except I don't think their defense is as good as our defense. But I think their
and
defense is still okay. But their offense,
agreed.
man, is
But I
oof.
don't know if they've got any better offense than we do.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they do. I think their defense is a little worse than ours. I still think it's pretty good. They just can't hold on forever. And
Yeah,
the Orgy kid just, I mean, you just stack the box and make sure he can't go anywhere, and then dare him to throw because he's
yeah.
probably not going to make it. You know, you just play the percentages.
Miami
Um,
should have lost.
they should have lost 2 weeks in a row.
Yep, yep. I don't know how good they are. There's just a lot of like how good are some of these teams? Like I I don't know. I
There
think
was a
Ohio State's pretty good.
yeah, they're I still think Georgia's good. I still think Bama's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, there's some of those. But it's funny because in the Discord, there was a guy talking about this. Aaron, he said, I'm telling you, every team is closer to each other than they've ever been before because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean that feels right.
And
I
I
mean
was
that's
like, and at first I was like, I don't know, man. It feels like all the big schools are just stealing away all the best talent. But then you still have like Theo Weiss, I think is a great example. I know he had a rough game against A&M, but I mean, Oklahoma was kind of just like, dude, you haven't really played well the last year and a half. We're moving on. And he's been really good for Missouri. Like he looks
mhm.
really good. And so you have those kinds of guys that just kind of they get processed, they don't fit, it's not working, but they're still ultra talented and they're going to these smaller schools to make sure that they're going to get playing time. And then they blow up and they're really good.
Yeah, yeah. One other thing I got to point out is the Heisman's over already. Heisman's done.
I'm not there yet.
Dude, this cat, you've seen his stats and everything, right? From
Yeah.
Boise.
Yeah.
I mean, he like Ashton had 13 carries for 186 and 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
And I know the competition is not good,
And
but
that's the thing though. Like a Jalen Milrow gets on a run and goes undefeated the rest of the way and throws for 400 a game and whatever, he's going to win it. If Cam Ward stays undefeated, he's going to win it. Like they are not going to give all the flowers media wise to Boise State at all. They're just not going to do it. Now, if this parity
yeah.
that we've seen keeps happening, that's one thing. And like you said,
Hmm.
Miami's almost lost 2 games, but they haven't. So all he has to do is put a couple big games together and he gets to say, hey, I led Miami back to being undefeated. And that's going to
Yeah.
be the storyline. And it's going to run away to the quarterback, and that's what they're going to say. I mean, yeah, the kid from Boise's good, but he's playing, those guys.
Hmm.
I mean, I want him to
Yeah.
win it. I think he's the best player. But I mean,
Dude,
think
I
about it
mean,
though. Week 1, everyone was ready to hand the Heisman to Cam Ward. And then Jalen Milroe beats Georgia. They were ready to give the Heisman to Jalen Milroe. And now all of a sudden, all those guys' names are not being mentioned at all. And we're moving. I mean, it's just there's too much season left for
The
it.
the reason I'm saying that is he is running away right now. Like he is
Oh,
literally doing like he's over 1,000 after 5 games,
right.
or is it 6 games?
He
Either
may have
or.
played six. Either way, he's
And
putting up Barry Sander numbers,
and
by the way.
that's what I mean. Like he there is a chance he surpasses Barry, which
Right.
is dumb. And he's got 16 touchdowns already.
Yeah.
16
Dude,
on
he
only
got
95 carries. He's averaging 11 yards a carry. Like, holy
uh
moly.
somebody I think somebody said he's a true sophomore too.
I got him right here. I'll tell you. No, he's a true junior.
Oh, true junior. So I think that's what it was. That's right. The question was, could OU get enough NIL money to make it worth him to stay one more year in college since running backs don't make any money in the NFL? And then they looked it up and they said, I don't think so. But man, it would be it'd be awesome if they could.
No, he's played 5 games. And their one loss was against number 7 Oregon, 37-34.
Yeah, it was a tight game. Yeah.
And he still had 125 carries for 192 and 3 tutties against Oregon. Like you're telling Washington State they blew out. I mean, like,
Yeah, they're gonna own that conference so bad. That's
all
wild.
right, the dude's crazy.
So
Um, all right.
well,
Yeah.
let's get into some OU stuff. Let's get there. So now before we start diving into all of our stuff, we have not had a chance to talk to you since the Auburn game.
Yeah.
Michael Hawkins' first start,
Yeah.
first road game in the
Yeah.
SEC, and
Yeah.
the cursed, haunted, whatever you want to call it, War
Hmm.
Eagle, Auburn cry. How did you feel about the Sooners coming out of that one?
I know everybody had like this insanely like a positive spin on it. It's like, oh, we came back from the dead on blah blah blah. And I'm like, what did we just do? Like, what was that we just watched? Like, we should have lost that game. And it wasn't if it wasn't for Auburn being Auburn, like we lose that game.
Yeah.
Um, I don't nothing changed in my mind, honestly, from the previous games.
Yeah.
The only thing that looked different to me was because the O line is so shoddy. And
Mhm.
granted, they played a little better, right?
They did.
They
You
played a
have to
little
give them
better.
credit.
I don't know if they're playing good, but they played average. I'm going to say that they were average in that game. They weren't good. They were average.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't even go that high yet, but
that's
yeah.
fair. That's fair. But with the escapability that Michael Hawkins is, it was good, and it felt like they took away the RPO. They like, hey, the RPO sucks.
It
Let's
was
not
still in there, but not it
not
was
not like to
not
the
the
degree.
central figure piece of this offense with Michael
Right.
Hawkins. No.
And so they kind of like dumbed down some of the play calling and just let him run an offense instead of like giving him 3 different options on every play.
Yeah.
And so it felt like better play calling, but not at the same time. Like
Mhm.
this is so weird, man. I go back, like, did they need to make the move? And we can get into this now if you want, but like,
Yeah.
did they needed to make the move with Jackson,
Yes.
against Tennessee? He was snake bit in that game.
Yeah.
Like you got to get somebody that's snake bit out of that game.
Yeah.
Totally get it. And you let Hawk run with it now. He hasn't proved like he should run with it at this point.
Right.
From the way they are playing this season on like what they want, what this team should do, control the clock,
Hmm.
play great defense,
Yep.
grind
Don't
it
turn
out.
the ball over. Yep.
Don't turn the ball over, period. Win the turnover game. Um, but dude, I keep going like in my head, I'm like making arguments against myself of what I'm about to say.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
for instance,
So
he only had like 160, 170 yards passing or whatever it
right.
was, and he had the great run at the first of the game, and you're like, oh snap, he clocked 22.4 miles an hour or whatever
Right.
it was, right? And And then I'm like, well, but he didn't throw that much. He didn't have that great a game, but he had a great ball to JJ Hester. Thank you for catching the ball, JJ.
Mm-hmm.
And but how many yards did he did he actually have against penalties that we should not have had?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that go don't get me started on the refs in that game where they had like a ghost block in the back, and then Auburn comes back and has a big touchdown run or a long run, and you
Yeah.
see a dude just literally pancaking a dude from the behind.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same. Like call it both ways, y'all. I don't care
Yeah.
if you call it, but you call it
Well,
both
the
ways.
Bauer Sharp call where he's moving towards the
Yes.
line of scrimmage in motion was a terrible call.
So
There were definitely some bad ones.
like it felt like they because of the penalties, like, and there were a lot of big plays they got called on.
Yeah.
It felt like 100 yards or more that
Yeah.
that they could have had more.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, if you're talking about like, oh, Hawk had 70 yards rushing and then 250 yards passing, you're like, now we got
Right.
something.
And this has been, and I know that Auburn is not the same as the teams that Jackson got to play. Jackson got to play Temple, Jackson got to play Houston and Tulane. I understand that. But like I keep saying that, like we said it through the first 2 weeks, I think there were 7 or 8 drops.
Mhm.
3 of them were touchdowns. And like 5 of the other 5 were like third down plays that keep
Mhm.
drives moving as opposed to shutting them down. And so, like with that, that's not a Jackson problem. That's not an O-line problem. That's just a straight up wide receiver problem, right? Of just not
Mhm.
putting your hands and watching it all the way in problem, you know?
Mhm.
You also had I said this, you weren't on that week. Deion Burks has hurt Jackson Arnold as much as he's helped him. Because like for instance, that dime he threw to him, was it the Houston or Tulane game where he threw that unbelievable throw on the left sideline to him in the end zone for a touchdown? But freaking Burks allowed himself to be run
Yeah.
out of bounds for 20 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
For 20 yards, he let himself stay out of bounds. Like that is a receiver problem, not a Jackson problem. Jackson threw one of the most elite passes that's
Mhm.
been thrown all season by any quarterback, but it comes off the board because Deion Burks doesn't know he's supposed to be in the field to play for it to be a touchdown, right? One of the
Yeah.
interceptions Jackson has is because of Deion Burks. He breaks on the post and then just gives up on it. And next thing you know, the ball was already in the air when he made his break. And if he goes under the safety, it's probably not a touchdown, but it's a catch. And at
Yeah.
worst, it's an interception, right? I mean, like, so again, you compound to compound. So, like, that's where I kind of wanted to go with the pod before we get in the game itself is just all these questions that, like, what is weird about this team is that I can have all these discussions of Jackson Arnold should still be the starter. And I can
Mhm.
have also all the discussions that I think Michael Hawkins is really good and he should be the starter. I mean, I can go every which direction because there are so many things off that I don't really know what the
Yeah.
actual issue is. I don't I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just players. I don't know if it's just bad offensive line talent. Like I cannot put my finger on it. And with Michael Hawkins, look, the first series with the run, that's great. I mean, they're in man coverage or chasing their guys, a hole opens, he goes. That it's kind of what you ought to do. I mean, there was like, I get it, he's super fast, but there was nothing great. And then he
Yeah.
went basically 3 quarters doing nothing for the entire game and missing wide open checkdowns to running backs. That
Mhm.
was, I mean, I was screaming at the television. That guy, like, throw it to Barnes. There
Well,
was a third
honestly,
down where they did a mesh pattern.
oh
And I
yeah.
mean, as soon as the ball hits his hands, if he hits Thompson, Thompson might take it to the
Oh
house.
yeah.
And
Like he's got a he didn't move. If he looked at one side, that was the side he was looking at.
yeah,
Like he did not move. And if you look at those plays, almost every time, not every time, but so many times, the other side that he was not looking at, that
is
wide
the
receiver's
side.
coming wide open.
Yep.
Is coming wide open. So like just start getting into this boom, boom. Now I'm coming here. Have the defense just move the defense
Yeah.
half a step.
Yep.
Like that's all some of
Well,
our wide receivers need.
and so here's my other question, because I've been saying this forever too. I do think a large part of Jackson Arnold not succeeding is on him, but I think that a very close second, like 48% of it, is all the things going wrong around him, from play calling to bad
Mhm.
offensive line play. And
Right.
like, for instance, the
Yes.
Michael Hawkins play where Brendan's coming open, he actually looked at one guy and immediately starts to run.
Hmm.
And you can tell in his mind, he goes, I don't have time.
Hmm.
Like, and see, this is what everybody was saying. Well, he looked great at the, okay, that's great. Jackson looked good against Temple. But after game 2 and game 3, when bodies are continually every play falling into you, like the clock just keeps speeding up because your
Yep.
trust goes down and down and down with every week. And I thought Michael Hawkins started to show that a little bit in that game, because there were plays to be made that were quick, right now plays. But like you said, it was one look and go, because he does not trust that offensive line.
That
And is
I
and is
come
he going to keep doing this just like Jackson did?
right.
That's right.
I completely agree with you. Like, I is Jackson Arnold a mental midget for like doing that? Maybe a little bit, right? Um, and
He
maybe
he
listening
was
to
definitely a mental midget in Tennessee. Like that, we all like he was coming
100%.
apart in that game.
Right. And it's almost like you saw it from game one to Tennessee, right? Like he was listening to the press. He was listening to all the criticism. And so it just kept getting to him and he kept getting worse. He kept being more and more gun shy and not believing in his talent
Mm-hmm.
and what the throws should have been, right?
Yeah.
And then it just came apart for him on Tennessee. We don't know if Michael Hawkins is the real deal yet. That's what, like, everybody's trying to anoint him. Y'all, like, be 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 cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Do not go all in yet
Yeah.
because it could be real bad real quick.
Now his poise, like I never felt like, I say his poise, his demeanor. That's more what I
Mhm.
should say.
Yeah.
Demeanor was awesome. He he never gave a vibe to his team or to the television or to the coaches, I'm overwhelmed and I'm coming apart. Whereas
Hmm.
when Jackson Earl made that throw that was a lateral that became a fumble, you could tell it was just a child throwing a fit at that point of,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what else to do. But I think he was just at his wits' end. I mean, what can I do? Nobody and nothing is going right. You know,
Right.
I throw a dime to Dion Burks, he's out of bounds, right? I throw a dime to uh uh Bauer Sharp for a third down conversion and he drops it. You know, like I throw a
Right.
dime down the sideline to Hester, he drops it. I mean, like I drop back and this guy's open, but I'm getting nailed dead in the chest because we can't
Right.
protect. Like
I
he just
still
hasn't
I
been.
still put the majority like all of the things like you said. For me, I am still on the train of like I'll start the GoFundMe to get South Latrell out of there right now.
Yeah.
Like I want him gone.
Yeah.
Like I think he's they want
It
to keep him on staff, fine. But like he should not be calling plays right now. And
no,
he should not be developing the offensive plan.
no. And that staff shouldn't. I mean,
No.
I put this in my notes too. Like, do the offense and defense even practice at the same practice? Because the demeanor, the mentality, the swagger of the defense looks like a completely different locker room than the offense.
At what point does the dam break on the defense though? Because you know this as well as I do. There have been so many incredibly good defenses that have been with incredibly bad offenses,
Mm-hmm.
and the dam breaks, and they're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do. We're not going to win these games because the offense literally can't get a first down.
I I don't know that mentally this defense is going to get there.
I
Like
hope you're
honestly,
right. I hope you're right.
but what is going to happen is the fatigue. I mean, you could see it a little bit in the Auburn game. I thought you could see tired legs, tired minds in that game a little bit. They looked
That's
sluggish.
all we need. Then and that's why, like in the fourth quarter, the defense came alive again.
Yes.
All we needed a little bit of offense. Just need a little bit of offense, y'all.
Yeah.
Like give me some decent action, a few first downs, and
Yeah.
give the defense some hope. Like, okay, the offense is coming around a little bit,
Yep.
yada yada yada. Right? Like, just give me a little bit because if the defense doesn't believe that you can do anything, then right or wrong, like You're
Yeah.
going to be the most passionate player in the world, but like at a certain point, it gets to you and you can't help it.
Yeah.
And so, like, and then what happens in the fourth quarter in Auburn? R. Mason, fourth quarter R. Mason
Yeah.
is the best player on the planet,
Yeah.
apparently. And so, like, it is look, okay. Okay, here, this is how I want to take this conversation. Okay? It is wild to me that he does that. So we are what, 4-1? 4-1, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Who is our best player on defense is Danny Sutzman, right?
Okay.
Who is our second best player on defense?
RSJ, hands down. And I think he might be the best.
Okay, who's our best player on offense?
Arms?
I mean, yeah. Bauer Sharp can't block a lick, but he's doing really well receiving the
I
ball.
like him as a receiver.
Him and Jake
And
Roberts are really nice receiving the
Burks
ball.
has caught a lot of balls too, but I'm telling you, he needs some detail work in his game. That's why, as a guy who played very weak high school wide receiver position, the little things he doesn't do right drive me insane because he would be elite if he did them right.
And the best true running back, the dude that just carried the ball, is Tatum to me.
Yeah,
Like
from carrying the ball, yeah,
from just carrying, not everything else. Like he's got a lot to
a
work on.
lot of work on.
But just carrying the ball, dude, is totally different.
Yep,
Totally different.
yep.
Um, but like I don't know, man. It's a weird thing to say, and I agree with you on RSJ. Like, dude is really special. Hey, are we getting Deshaun back, by the way, this week?
Dasan is practicing, so there's that. But I'm not.
With
I'm not.
Dolby out, do you don't think he plays a lot more?
No,
Really?
no,
Okay. Okay.
no. Because matter of fact, they moved him inside in the spring.
Okay.
Dasan.
Okay.
Now, could they use him in some kind of package at Cheetah? Maybe. But I think more so, I mean, let me say it this way. He might technically come on the field and, like, let's say Sammy Omasigo goes out. Everyone's going to
Mm-hmm.
go, well, he's playing Cheetah. But I think they're going to bring him in second and long, third and long. And while he's technically the Cheetah, he's really going to be a walk up Von Miller. Does that make sense? Like they're going to
Yeah.
just use
Yeah.
him as a straight up. They're going to run that package where they put PJ at the D tackle, R Mason at an end, Ethan Downs at an end, and then walk up Dasan on somewhere and just have him roam standing up and just go wreak havoc. I think if they
Mm-hmm.
did, I would plan on Dasan playing like 10 snaps. I think the whole game, but it's just those random passing downs like that. I think
Okay.
if we get anything back from him,
And I
Tatum, you
and
would assume we get back.
yeah.
Wide receiver wise, dude, I don't know. No, I would basically just assume that the receivers you had last week, so who you're going to have this week.
Right. And I don't mean to be like negative after the Auburn game, but like
It
the
wasn't a
defense
great
played
game.
it wasn't a great game, but I will give Michael Hawkins this. In the clutch, he made it happen.
Yeah, 100%.
In the and
100%.
that's where you were talking about with this poise, and that's where we didn't see with Jackson Arnold in the first half
Right.
of Tennessee. Like when down 21-10, dude, he made some throws. He made some
Yeah.
nice throws.
The deep ball
Um,
throw is incredible. Now, he missed one earlier in the game, too.
sure,
And that's the
sure,
other thing that, I mean, again, that was one that Jackson hasn't been very good on his deep ball. Well, I mean, technically, neither has Michael Hawkins.
right.
Like, you
And
know,
then, but he's also, but the thing I will call Michael Hawkins is he is a gamer. Like
yes.
you needed that 2 point conversion, dude went and got it.
Yep.
Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, I
And
don't
look, you
know.
can't deny just his pure athleticism is better than Jackson. It's off the chart
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that
He's quick
helps
and
him
fast.
because of the offensive line being what it is. It
Yeah,
opens things up, right?
yeah,
And then the
yeah.
other question I still have is just like injuries. Like, are we just snake bit? Is there something we're doing we shouldn't be doing from a strength and like I don't have
Hmm.
any answer. And then even like the thing like Nick Anderson, like Oh, he'll be back in a few days. Well, 3 weeks later, he ain't back. Like,
Hmm.
and even BV in that press conference that 1 week where like what was it he said? He looked great in warmups, so I don't know what to tell you. I'm just like, now I don't know if that's directed at the training staff, but you've heard like the Scoop guys have talked about it. Budberry, Bob Comiar, and Steven and those guys have talked like apparently there's a massive gaping hole in communication between the training staff, the players, and the coaches. And that something over there needs to be completely rethought. So maybe, but like I can't help also. I remember being in the Discord when Jerry Schmidt left last time and everybody said he needed to go because everybody gets hurt under his watch. Like I don't know what's true. Like that's what I'm saying. I cannot put my finger on it. Like I cannot figure out how we have all these people out hurt and almost all of them are offense.
That's wild.
The entire O line, 5 wide receivers. I mean,
The
a running back.
Kendall Dolby thing is just a freak thing.
Yeah, that's a football play that just
Yeah.
goes bad. But these
Yeah.
quads and hamstrings and a bumped bruise here, a this there. I mean, I think Jake Taylor's got like a high ankle. He's got a back. He's got a wrist. We got multiple shoulders out on the offensive line. I mean, I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on, And again, also, I don't know. I don't know how much the injuries are actually plaguing us.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Like,
No, because they're plaguing us.
but I mean, like, there's a part of me I can convince myself if we were healthy, we wouldn't be that much better. And then there's a part of me that says, no, if everybody was healthy, I think we might be maybe one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country.
Fair.
And I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because, like, the O line, we didn't play a great team, but they did play better and they were the healthiest they've been.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know what the wide receiver would look like, position would look like with Gibson, Farouk, Burks. Like, I want to say they'd look incredible, but I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
that's what I mean by plaguing. Like, is it really an injury issue of why the offense is so bad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or would we really just be average if they were healthy?
Or is it or is it like come down to they don't know how to game plan? Seth Luttrell doesn't
Right.
know how to game plan. Seth Luttrell doesn't know how to call plays
Right.
and put the guys in best possible ways to
Yeah.
succeed. So I lean towards that one. You know me, like on
I
this one,
know.
I lean towards Seth Luttrell on this
And
one.
I would say based on the fact that we can list so many things wrong with the offense that I do agree with you. Seth Luttrell has to be number one issue discussed, right? Because it looks
Mhm.
just so discombobulated. Jared and I talked about this the other day, though. Like, I also can sit here and say, okay, our offensive line's terrible.
Mhm.
Running up the middle is not highly effective, and I know that. But here's the thing: jet sweeps. If your offensive line gets blown up and it doesn't work, that's an automatic 5 to 6 yard loss.
Mhm. Mhm.
Whereas if I run it right at the middle and we get blown up, it's going to be a negative gain of 1 yard, maybe two, and we might get back to the line, more than likely get back to the line of scrimmage at least.
Yeah.
And so if I want to limit disaster plays, that's
Mhm.
why we don't run the jet sweep. That's why we don't run the sweeps, because if I pitch it to Barnes and the end destroys our tackle, it's going to be a 7 yard loss. And
Yeah.
so I would rather take my chances just running downhill, hoping that we can get something than run to the. I can understand that. I can understand constantly running RPOs just so you can confuse the defense and maybe get somebody open because your receivers have not been great at creating separation
Mhm.
this year. Like, so I can go down all the things we hate about the offense and go, but I understand it. I mean, same thing with like we keep saying, why don't they run more bubbles? And I don't disagree, but have you watched our wide receivers block?
Yeah,
Like, so
that's
same thing,
brutal.
you're running a
Yeah.
bubble that's going to be a 4 yard loss because nobody can block on the edge. Like,
Miss me some Stoopsy on that, by the way.
yeah, no doubt. No
You talk about a
doubt.
dude that could block for. I mean, he
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 will
was a better
block
blocker
anybody.
than everybody. Like it was crazy. Anywho,
So I can explain away Seth Luttrell to some degree. All that to say of I get it. Jackson Arnold throwing a temper tantrum in the tent. Like I can explain it. I don't know if that's right. I'm just telling you, I can make a legitimate argument that you can't say, well, you're absolutely wrong.
yeah.
It's going to be my opinion versus your opinion. So I don't know, man. It's just wild. So let's get on to Texas, shall we? The number one team in the country, the Texas Shorthorns, are all over it. They're back, Troy. They are the greatest team. They're going to win a national championship this year.
I hate you. Don't. Why are you gaslighting me?
I mean, they have been the best team so far this year.
I guess. Like, I guess. Like, all right. Who and you know what? Like, and I agree. Like, all right, they played Michigan. Yeah, yeah, they played Michigan. Michigan's a. It's the only reason Michigan is ranked where they are. They've lost two games now. Where
Yep.
where are they on the rankings, by the way?
I don't
Michigan's
remember. Like
in the AP
21.
poll, they're 24. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We're ahead of them. But like honestly, Michigan's a worse Oklahoma this year.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this before the
Here.
pod. But
Yeah.
like that's all they've played. That's all Texas has played.
Yes. And the only thing I would say though is that terrifies me is like I said earlier, I don't think Michigan's defense is as good as OU's right now.
Hmm.
But Texas could have named the score against that defense.
Okay. What I didn't watch the Mississippi State game. Did you?
I know highlights.
Yeah. I didn't well, I'm pulling up the stats right now. I did not watch it.
It was an
Um,
Arch. Here's what I would say: it was Arch Manning having to actually come in and run the offense the whole time, and he's not quite ready yet.
they're up 14-6 at halftime.
Yep.
And here's the thing, Mississippi State sucks.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Like they played Mississippi State and Michigan. That's the best teams they've played so far. UL Monroe is brutal.
Yep.
UTSA is brutal. Colorado State is brutal.
Yeah.
Like we've played, and here's the difference. And I know Michigan has the same type of talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
As OU, if not better talent,
Right.
like frankly. Because their recruiting class has been
Their O
phenomenal.
line talent is 100% better than what we're putting out
Yes.
there right now.
Yes. Um, the thing that the one advantage I will give us in the game is that we're ready for this type of talent because of Tennessee, Auburn,
Yep.
bang bang, right? Like Tennessee has a better defensive line than Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Auburn Auburn's defense was nothing to like. They're not a bad defense, and you could see
No.
it. Like they held Georgia down for
Yeah.
most of that game, right?
Well, and their
Like
offense, I mean, as bad as it's been for them, they still lead the nation in explosive plays.
that was my next thing I was going to say. Like Auburn is, if it wasn't for turnovers, they legit could be 5-1 right now,
Yes.
and they would
Yes.
be in a top 10 team
Yep.
right now. So like call it what you are, and they only turned the ball over once against us. But like Texas, we're ready for this type of talent. Is Texas ready for our defense? Because as good as Michigan is on defense, they haven't seen this.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on all
But
of those
I think
points.
Texas has a lot better. I mean, they should be favored. Now 14 and a half, I think it's crazy.
Yeah, that I mean, we just know this game too well to ever, I think, give somebody a 14 point. I mean, I go all the way back to that last year of Charlie Strong, where
Yeah.
they came in 1-4 into that game. We were like
Mhm.
5-0, 4-1. Like it, I mean, I met up with cousins who are Texas alum, and they're like, you guys are going to destroy us today.
Mhm.
Like they came in with no hope and they obliterated us. that day, all day long. This game is just weird. It just never, I would
But the
never
same
give a team that big of a spread.
the same time, like Texas doesn't have a running game.
The running game has been a little bit of a struggle for them because, I mean, they're missing 3 guys to injury, like we are wide receiver at running back.
Funny how that happens. Like
Yeah,
even Mahomes is not Mahomes right now without his top couple wide receivers.
right.
Funny how that you take away your top playmakers,
Yeah,
how things don't go the
I
right way.
know. And so, but again, I just go back and watch that Michigan game. And the
Mhm.
thing that stood out in that game for me, I knew their defense would hold its own because Michigan's offense was going to struggle. I think
Sure.
everybody knew their offense was going to struggle. But dude, Texas's offense, they were doing whatever they wanted to do against Michigan. And that's what scares me. Like
That's
that's what
fair.
and our offense is so inept
Yeah.
that like if they play half as good as they did against Michigan, they are going to win by
Yeah.
17, 20 points.
I see what you're saying. Because, but like you said, this is the Red River. This is the last time, like 49-0, there was a blowout, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
was because one team literally didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
Um,
literally.
but if you go back the last 10, 12 years, there's not blowouts. And there's
No.
been better sides on better teams that shouldn't have lost or shouldn't have won, whatever. And we've gotten, I mean, honestly, we've gotten the better end of it,
And
but
I honestly of all the things, just like last year, I didn't know if we were going to win the game, but I felt really good about the game last year because it was 49-0 the year before,
mhm.
right? Like that whole narrative, knowing that Schmitty had them doing 49 medicine balls to close every practice throughout the summer to remind them that they got beat 49. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
those kinds of things were like, okay. And I feel like Texas has that this year because of the whole Danny Stutzman, Texas Fears Oklahoma, the cigar pose shirt. I mean, the whole thing.
I agree, but also like the flip side of that, again, like we're talking both sides of this, like,
Yep.
but like the flip side of that is like they're ranked number one.
Yeah.
They're very high on themselves, and when Texas gets a little bit confident, they come crashing down pretty hard, right?
Yep. Yep.
And this is the game that could happen 110%.
Yeah.
Especially if we hit them in the mouth early. They're
Yes.
like, because their attitude for decades now, and people are like, oh, this is a different team. No, it's not. No, it's not. Like you hit them in the mouth, they expect you to roll over sometimes. And so when you don't, they're
Yeah.
sitting there scratching their head like, well, why aren't we winning?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like in that 100% could happen once again.
I think an interesting factor because I think again to keep beating the drum of the Jackson Arnold. I think that we know that Quinn Ewers has felt the pressure of Arch Manning, and while Arch
Mhm.
Manning did not play very good against Mississippi State, in his other games he played pretty dang good. He looks really good,
But
and
again, who did he play in those
I
games?
know. But what I'm saying is that doesn't matter. All Quinn Ewers is hearing is, dude, Arch looks really good. And so, like, if you get an interception early, like we did last year on Quinn, does his mind start to spiral? You see what I'm saying?
I think he's going to spiral initially. For one, he's got to kick off the rust. Two, he's going to press to prove he's that dude.
Maybe he very well
If
might.
if he doesn't, then we could be in trouble because like what he hit like 22 in a row against us last year
Yeah, yeah.
after the second
After the
interception,
crazy start, yeah.
like he just could not miss. Um, but dude, yeah, that team had Bijan. No, they didn't have Bijan last year.
No, Bijan was out. They
Bijan
had a
was yeah.
Brooks, and he went
Yeah,
out
Jonathan
injured.
Brooks. Yep.
So I mean, yeah, it's an interesting game. I do think that they hold the edge a little bit again, just in the payback and in the we're not going to let you make a t-shirt
Sure.
about us again, that kind of stuff. Um, But look, man, like I do agree with you. I think what would be interesting is if the defense plays like you expect them to play, and I think even Texas does. I think Texas is talking this week of guys, the offense is going to stall. This defense is really, really good, and we just got to stick with it. But I also think they're saying this offense is not very good. And so just be patient. If somehow, some way, Seth Luttrell can script something together for 2 drives where you can go down and score touchdowns early and often, then all of a sudden the momentum starts to really shift in that game. And I think the pressure starts to mount for Texas. So
I think you said one thing that's really key right there that it gives me less confidence than when we started talking
Seth
about this.
scripting two drives together. Yeah.
Scripting anything. Like it gives me zero confidence, dude. Like tell me in the first 5 games, like what Seth has done to give you any kind of confidence that he can game plan.
Tulane, early in Tulane. Those first couple drives, I thought he put some things together really good for Jackson to get comfortable, to get confident, and to get going.
That's fair. And then what happened after that?
We kind of fell apart after that. Yeah.
I even text that's the game. I texted you after the second drive and I go, feels like we're finding our identity, boys. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
You
we because
jinxed
we
us.
talked. I did. I 100%. You know what? We have zero identity. We are a terrible offense. We are going nowhere.
Oh my
Like
gosh. Here's
seriously,
my
like
thing,
that's
though. Here's my thing. So let's
tell
get to
me.
keys of the game so we can talk some Thunder. My key is just simply this on the offense. They cannot have 3-and-out drives. That's it.
Oh God, yes, that's
That's
it.
it.
I
Like
agreed.
I need
Agreed.
I need 2 to 3 first downs every drive. Now, obviously, you need to go score some, but you just need to show some like you need to be able to come back and go, guys, we were moving the ball. We
Yes.
missed a couple things. Hey, guys, we were moving the ball. We just missed a couple things. Like you have to have that. If you have these atrocious Michael Hawkins is just getting hit as soon as the ball gets to him. The running backs are getting hit as they're getting the ball out of the bat, like we've been doing. You're dropping passes that are wide open and put in your breadbasket. Again, the snowball of momentum's going the other way, and it's going to get gross really quick. So offensively, it's got to be that. And then number 2, Auburn, I thought our defensive line was the worst game they've played by
Mhm.
far until the fourth quarter. They cannot do that this game. They have got to be elite like they were against Tennessee and like they were all the other games.
I think Auburn showed other teams something interesting. When we put 5 in the box, um, or we put 4 in the box. There it is. 4 to 5 in the box, they would run.
Mm-hmm.
When we bring that next person in, they'd pass. And they just audibled it over and over and over. And what it did, I felt like our defense was really on their heels in quarters 2 and 3 specifically.
Yeah.
And they just sat in base. Like they weren't doing anything. They weren't trying to disguise anything. They were just like, we just gotta slow them down and we're just gonna sit here in our base
Yeah.
defense and not do anything. Now here and there they did something, but like not much at all until the fourth, where then they just started disguising. And obviously there was a great call by Venables or whoever
Oh,
whoever made
yeah.
that call on the Kip six. Um, but yeah, like you can't get on your heels
Yeah.
as a defense, and you
Yeah.
can't get on your heels.
Yeah.
You got it. If it's not working, whatever you do in disguising things, blitzing here and there, whatever, it's not working. Don't just go to your base package because I think that's when our defense really doesn't just looks like an average defense.
Yeah. You might be right. Yeah. I mean, again, the other thing too that specifically, so this is going to be this will probably fall in the category of Daryl being dark, but Danny Stutzman has been great this year. But I will say this, dude, I would have had him the entire bye week tackling a tackling dummy going through a shoot. In other words, keeping his pads down. Like there were several talking about him wearing the cowboy collar, that something looked off. He had a stinger, something was going on. He just didn't look right. Dude, go back through his tape. We've been talking about this for 3 weeks on our pod. He tackles way too high. He is
Mm,
standing straight up and down in 90% of his tackles, and he generates no power. The big hit he had, what was that, the Houston game where he leveled
mhm,
that dude? He was down low.
mhm.
Like he finally was squatted down. If you watch Kobe McKenzie, who knocks back everybody he hits, his knees and his legs are at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah,
And then he explodes it. Danny is 6'4", stretched out as tall as he can be and just wrapping his arms around them. But he's taking the full blow of it all the time, which is taking more energy and more effort out of him
yeah,
than it would to get low.
yeah,
And for the rest of the season, with no more bye weeks coming, he's got to be low on all of his tackles. That would help the
yeah,
defense tremendously. And
yeah.
then kicker, man, whoever, Schmidt,
They've just what you're essentially saying is they've got to be clean in all three phases of the game. Like they can't afford
I mean, you
they
can't afford turnovers.
you can't afford turnovers.
You're going to give up
Yeah,
plays against this offense. That's why I'm saying,
sure.
like, for me, what I need to, as we're going into halftime, I need to be able to say the D line's playing really good today. If we can say that, I think we have a chance. But if we look like we did in Auburn, where the D line just looks like then we're in trouble.
For me, it's take advantage of situations on both sides of the ball. Take
Yeah.
advantage of the situations. You're gonna have shots, right? The I still think Texas's defense has literally not been tested. We don't know what the Texas defense is,
I
honestly.
think their front seven's not bad. And I think just like it was last year, I think their back end is not great.
And so, like, but they have literally not played a good offense whatsoever. Like, they've
No.
played terrible, terrible offenses. And so take advantage of situations. Don't drop the ball on 3rd and 7 when you've got an easy first down. Like
Yeah.
you've got to take it. Same thing on defense. Like, and is this going to be like I know they say like they're defenders for a reason. They're on the defensive side. They're DBs for a reason, not wide receivers. If you get a ball in your breadbasket, if you get hands on a
Have
ball,
to catch
take
it.
advantage of it.
Yeah.
You've got to take advantage of it. Rip, strip, scoop, like catch. Like you've
Yeah.
got to take advantage of it. It's not for this game to me, it's not just you play your game and you're gonna win. That's not
Yeah.
this game for this team.
Yeah.
That's been years past. That's been our game,
Because
right?
what
You
was it,
play,
Kobe that dropped the one that was tipped in the
yeah,
Auburn game?
yep,
And
yep,
then
yep.
was it the Auburn game or the one before where Kanai was in perfect position in the end zone and had a ball go?
Kanai, yes, that was the game before, I believe.
I think it was,
Um,
yeah.
but like other teams we've had for a long time, it's like all we just play our game, we're gonna win the game, right? No matter
Yeah.
who we play. This is not that game. You have to play your game, but you have to take advantage of the situations that
Yeah.
come across your face. So those are my keys.
That's good. Uh do you have a score prediction, Troy?
I am gonna pick against us because that's what I do. I would take OU in the points. I'm gonna say 30 to 17.
32-17 or 32-17?
30 for Texas, 17 for OU.
Okay.
So underneath the 14 and a half, but
Gotcha.
barely.
Um I think I'll say they cover. I think it'll be 27-10. I think right now is where
Okay.
I would put it. And I
Okay.
think the other thing that we haven't talked about that we
27
should,
to 10 is not covering.
that's 17 points.
Are you talking about Texas covering? You said
Yeah,
Texas cover. Oh,
Texas.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
Texas covering. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
Um uh Playing in the Red River game's different for a true freshman, especially at
Yes.
quarterback.
Yeah.
And
But
granted,
you could
I
all
think playing at Auburn was a good
I was gonna
dip your
say
toes in, but it is not this game. And
I mean
even I even heard
the
who was it? Danny Stutzman. He was like, it was cool. The fans were fun. He's like, but that wasn't even close to the loud. He said Cincinnati was louder last
huh.
year than Auburn was.
It is fascinating to me though, like and another like feather in Hawk's hat is your first two games you play Tennessee, best defensive line in the country, possibly,
Yeah.
and at Auburn, right?
Yeah.
Like
Good test.
that's a wild start to
See,
your career.
like when you say those things, then I go back over it. I think Michael Hawkins is the next Heisman winner at
I,
OU.
it's dude, it's so weird.
I
Like
cannot figure this.
I
I
know.
cannot figure it
I
out.
know,
I
man.
cannot.
By the way, speaking of Danny Stutzman, um, did you see what he said on their podcast, Teddy Lehman's podcast and everything?
No,
They asked
no.
him, oh, so funny, man. They asked him his favorite moment of the season so far.
Oh,
Um, have you seen this?
yes. And he said,
Okay,
listen
and
to Jaden Jackson's interviews with the media.
they said he plays like a senior but interviews like a freshman. He
Freshman.
just dies laughing.
Well, you know what he's referring to, right?
No, I don't.
Uh, Jaden Jackson in his very first interview during the season said, was getting asked about doing something. He's like, it's kind of like I'm just playing with myself. And literally the reporters started laughing. And he was like, I just, never mind. He's like, he's like, please don't put that out there or something. Like he knew, like instantly, but it was too late. And all the guys were dying laughing. I
Oh,
mean,
that's
it
good.
was great. It was great.
That's good. That's good. All right, dude.
Thunder
We got to
talk is
talk.
time. It's
Yes.
time. No, all right.
Oh.
Andrew Schlecht asked a question. I'll
Okay.
ask you. Is this year's team the deepest team in Thunder history?
Yes. No question. No question in my mind. No. Why are you? What's with your stupid grin,
Because I completely agree, and it makes me oh
dude?
so happy.
Dude,
Dude,
I'm
AJ
watching.
Mitchell. AJ Mitchell is the truth.
Okay, he, dude. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to start here. I'm so giddy about this team. Like, oh gosh, that was a bad
Oh,
pun. That was a
that was too
bad pun.
soon.
I did not mean to
That's
do
too
that.
soon, Troy.
Oh,
How
that's on me.
could you? How
Let's
could
see.
you do that?
I don't know. You
You
know what?
you literally just tried to crap all over Josh Giddey.
I didn't mean to. Okay, so here we go. I just pulled up stats. The Bulls won their preseason game tonight. He played 22 minutes,
Okay.
11 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover. Attaboy.
All right. All right.
Good job.
The assist numbers are lower
Um,
than I anticipated, but okay.
0 for 3 on threes. Okay.
Threes. Yep.
There it is. But so I'm watching that game and they sat Lou, K Rich, SGA. So they sat 2 starters, right? In this game. Dude, and I know who they were playing with, but I just wanted to see like what the foundation was, like the base template, like how is this team gonna work, right?
Dude.
Dude, I'm just saying, man.
The iHeart, like over the shoulder, no look pass to Caruso for the mid range jumper, just have you like
dude,
crying.
I told you guys months ago, like months ago, I was like, as soon as this trade happened, I was giddy. Remember, like I was again, dang it.
Ah,
Stop,
Troy.
Troy. Okay.
What are you doing?
All right. As soon as this trade happened, I was
Oh
ecstatic,
my.
right? Um, and I told you like the most underrated part of Hartenstein's game is he is a cerebral player. Like he is so smart and he is a phenomenal passer. The offense will go through SGA, period.
Yes.
But it will also go through iHeart. Like he had 7 assists in
Yeah.
that limited game time
Yeah.
last night. And what was the weakest part of our game last year? The weakest part of the Thunder's game last year.
Oh, God. A rebound.
Oh, okay, there you go. There you go. He was all over the glass when he was in the game. Like, and I know they didn't have Wemby and everything, but I
Right.
just want to see what was going to happen. He still spaced the floor. In fact, he spaced the floor better when he was in the game than if we just had 5 out. Because the amount of space, remember the picks that Steven Adams would set?
Yes.
Same exact thing. He creates so much space for his teammates. It's
No.
insane. Like I was so happy. Then they had one point. They had a Case and Wallace, Alex Caruso, J Dub, iHeart, and Chet lineup out there at once.
Well, the one I heard, what was it? Was it Dort, Caruso?
No, Jordan didn't play last night.
Oh, Dort didn't play last night.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, so that or they had a Kaysen. No, it was no, it wasn't Kaysen. It was Caruso, J Dub. Yeah, Caruso, J Dub, Kaysen, iHeart, and Chet in the game. Okay,
Hmm.
just think about that. Like, who is bad on defense in that lineup?
Right.
Nobody. Their hands were in every passing lane. They were deflecting everything. They couldn't get inside because guess what? Chet and Hartenstein are inside. So they try to get inside and they'd be there. They'd kick it out and for a contested three. Over and over and over. And guess what we did on top of that? Something I was not expecting, even with Isaiah. We were pushing the ball.
Yeah.
Every time. It didn't matter who was they were outletting to. It was outlet, go, fly, like every single time, dude. And then you put on top of that the dude that you mentioned, AJ
Mitchell.
Mitchell, dude, it just couldn't do no wrong on the floor. Did everything he wanted. J Dub All Star season is commencing.
Yeah.
Chet All-Star season is commencing. You should have seen what he did. When him and iHeart on the floor together, it's another dynamic, dude. I after watching it, I'm like, yeah, Hartenstein's going to start and Cruz is coming off the bench or Dort's coming off the bench.
Which it won't be Dort. I think it'll be Caruso.
I
I
agree.
think I think Caruso. I mean, I think they wanted him for a lot of reasons, but I think literally the whatever they had envisioned for Josh is basically going to become Caruso. He's going to handle the ball. He's going to play the point. He's going to run that second unit, but he's going to have an elevated, better defensive game and an elevated 3-point game.
Yes. Yeah. It is going to be wild, and you can mix and match whatever you want
Yeah.
with this team. That's what I was texting a buddy from work, and I told him like this is by far the most versatile team that the Thunder have ever put on the court, and it's one of the more versatile teams I've ever seen in my life on an NBA court. They can do anything they want. They can mix and match everywhere. There's not one part of an NBA game they are missing now that they have Hartenstein
Yeah.
because they even offensive rebound. Like he was getting offensive rebounds and boom, there's a J Dub dunk. They ran the pick and roll with Chet and him.
That's good. Well, and
And
even
Chet,
the Jones kid was another one that played really
yeah,
well.
Dylan Jones was doing really well. I am
His
predicting that
his
AJ
defense is a
Mitchell.
struggle though.
Right. Because he's a little, but he can handle the rock. He's bigger than AJ Mitchell. He's a little thicker, but he can run and he can
Here
take it off the bounce.
here's the stat lines for both those guys. Dylan Jones, 8 of 11 from the floor, 1 of
Mm-hmm.
1 from 3. He
Mm-hmm.
had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, no steals, no blocks, 2 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
17 points on the night. Pretty good. AJ Mitchell, 8 of 13, 1 of 4 from the floor, or 1 of 4 from 3-point range. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and only 2 turnovers in 24 minutes. I mean, and scored 19 points.
Yep.
I mean, if that's not your low ball price replacements for Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe, I don't know what is.
uh, dude, I'm telling you, like it was so fun watching them and how their offense already was like. It took like the first 2 or 3 minutes, be like, oh, we get it now. We know
Mm-hmm.
how to play, and I love that they put Jang in the starting lineup, but like Jang's not seeing the floor this year.
No, not very much, especially if he plays like that. He just continues to not be very aggressive, continues to just not be very efficient at the NBA level. And
No, it's sad.
sorry, my dog's going
No,
nuts
you're
downstairs.
fine.
So,
It's sad to see because he has a lot of the tools to be big time.
Yeah.
Um, and he's still younger than most NBA players, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's still only like
Um,
19 or 20, isn't he?
yeah, yeah. But honestly, dude, this team is it's going to be hard for my expectations not to be like insanely high.
Yeah. Well, and
It's
even
going to be
like with
really hard.
Oos, like you were like, no one would be disappointed if at the end of the year he averaged like 12 minutes a game.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
we don't need you to like, we just need you to come in and hold it down, rebound a little bit, just be a body on the floor that's big enough to bang and give our guys a break. Like, that's all he serves on this team. He's still a win.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he can't, I mean, it's like you said, the different lineups, which I know NBA teams don't really do that. They have their starting lineup, they have their road, like they get in their deal. But I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see if Dagnall really does do. Okay, we're playing a bigger body team tonight. All right, iHeart, Chet, y'all are going out tonight. Dort, you're in the starting lineup tonight. We're just going to go big. Y'all are going to play the bulk of the minutes. We're going to go big. We're going to go
Hmm.
strong. We're going to fight back, but we're still going to set the tone by, like you said, even though y'all are the bigs, we're still running. We're still
Hmm.
gunning. We're still doing. Uh, this was the biggest statement I heard because I didn't get to watch much of the game. Andrew Schleck said that there were moments with Chet with the ball in his hand that reminded him of Kevin Durant.
Dude, I completely agree. I watched the entire first half and he did whatever he wanted with the basketball. Like they couldn't stay in front of him. And I know again, Wemby was not there,
Right.
but uh they could not stay in front of him. They could not um they couldn't figure out his defense. Like he was getting to the rim at will. Like literally at will. Off the bounce, Daryl. Like straight line there. And it's like, and partly because iHeart was able to open up so much space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one question I've got for you is what is their death lineup? Not their best lineup, but the line like the lineup where they just run and gun and they crush you.
Oh man. See, I don't know. Like here's my first initial thought, but then I have another one. My first initial thought is SGA, J Dub, Caruso, iHeart, Chet. Because
Say
I
that one more
think
time.
J Dub, SGA, Caruso, iHeart, Chet.
Hmm.
Now, because I think that is everything. That team will lock you down and that team can score.
Hmm.
Now, if you're talking about just straight up just a barrage of offense and just dominating that way, then you go SGA for me, Caruso, J Dub, and then that's where it gets tricky. Do you play like Isaiah Joe with that lineup or an Aaron Wiggins who shoots almost as good as Joe, but really can facilitate still and move things on, or Kaysen? Oh, I didn't even think about Kaysen. Oh, I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but I think one of those guys with that four where they can all shoot the three just lights out, but they're all
Think
still gonna
think
hold their own defensively.
so there are some teams that will not like their biggest dude they'll play is like 6, 7 at some points, right?
Yeah.
Um, and they'll just try to run. So let's do that. And I'm going to take Chet and iHeart out of that lineup.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Now Chet I think would absolutely be in that lineup, but I'm just like
For kicks
hypothetical.
and giggles, right?
Yeah. I think you could put J Dub at the five in that case,
Gosh.
right?
Okay. Yep.
SGA Caruso Kaysen, SGA Caruso Kaysen, Isaiah Joe, and J Dub. Because if they're like if Dallas sometimes
Or Dort.
da,
You could even put
like
Dort in for
New
Joe.
Orleans, New Orleans,
Yeah.
right? Like the reason I do Joe is because Joe is your Clay Thompson. Joe is like all I have to. I just need space. Just give me an inch and I'll get the ball off. I mean, last
Yeah.
night you should have seen him just like high arcers, just nothing but net. Um, Kaysen looks like. He can lock you down and then also shoot over you.
Hmm.
J-Dub looks like he's taken another step with his shooting and his shot making.
Yeah.
Um, so like I mean thinking of like New Orleans. They ended up playing that New Orleans did in the playoffs actually. Like once Valanciunas came off the floor, there wasn't another big. Their tallest dude was like 6'7". It was what's his bucket,
Oh,
the long arms guy.
yes. I know.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yes.
about. But like they were running basically five out at that point with five guards, or and one forward or whatever. You can do the same thing with this team. You have any kind of flexibility you want. Now, I think their best lineup is their three stars, SGA,
Mm,
J-Dub, and Chet.
right.
iHeart. After watching last night, that's absolute iHeart. And um, I love
Caruso.
Dort. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's Caruso
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, from a pure talent
and
standpoint, Caruso
possibly Kaysen.
and
Kaysen
possibly,
might.
yes. Yes. But that's why I say I don't think Caruso's starting. Not because he's not better than Dort. I think he is. All around game, he's better. I think Dort's defense is better than Caruso's. But I think his all around game, Caruso is better. And so putting him with the
Most people
second
don't.
unit, I know, but I think that's bullcrap. I think that his all around game just helps the second unit be able to do both, to lock down and maintain scoring at a level that you can go through. Now, I think to close out games, depending on the situation, I think Caruso and Dort are just completely interchangeable. If you've got a slight lead, you leave Dort in, I think, and just let him continue to lock down. If you're really neck and neck or you're behind, Caruso's in to give you another real deal shot maker and shot creator.
I mean, think if they want to go like if they want like pull their all their top guards out, right? Like you can go Kaysen, Caruso, Wiggs, Joe,
Yeah. AJ
and
Mitchell.
AJ Mitchell or J Will,
Yeah.
or I don't. After watching last night, man, I think they play I Heart and Chet a lot more than I thought together.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your? It's preseason here, right? We
Mm-hmm.
started. Season's going to start in a couple weeks. Um, where do you think? What do you think happens this year?
I'll give you my bright thought and I'll give you my dark thought.
Okay,
My bright thought is that they set the record, franchise record for wins in a season,
okay.
which I believe is 62,
I think you're right. Yeah.
62, 63. I think that's the bright. And they win the West and make a very deep run in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens from there. My dark
Okay.
thought, we were way too lucky with no injuries last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
That's fair.
afraid that's going to catch up, especially with the Olympics this year, all the different things. I'm really afraid the injury bug's going to get us this year.
And I will say this about that: we can withstand a couple of injuries, honestly, because we are
That's what's
that deep.
that's about to say. That's what's crazy. Outside of SGA, even SGA being out, this team will compete.
I think
But
if SGA is out for 10 games or something like that, I think you're going to
five,
see some development some development from dudes like they know their place, but like, oh, like Chet and J-Dub take
mm-hmm,
another step,
right,
and it could be honestly beneficial. We've seen that
yeah.
before.
And I think
Um,
I guarantee they already have a plan right now for SGA to probably play what 65 to 70 games.
he has to play 65 to get in the MVP conversation in the All NBA team,
That's
I
why
think.
like somewhere in that range
Yeah.
and give him little
I
nights off the other 12 to 15 games.
They how many games they win last year? They won 52? 50
50 no, it was like
no.
54, 55, wasn't it?
Was it
Or
55
was it
last year?
man, I can't remember.
Could say this. Oh
Oh,
gosh.
this is great podcasting.
We're this is why we're so good at what we do. Um, oh no, they won 57. Sorry. Phew. They won
Ah, dang it.
57. Yeah. Dang,
Yeah.
they won 57 games last year. Um, and they're just I don't think they're just a little better, Daryl.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
I think they're exponentially better.
They're so young. There's no way the players haven't taken a step in their game. And you've added pieces that make you better in iHeart and Caruso.
It kind of blows me away how much better they got.
Yeah,
Um, and they were still already first in the league last season. They had the best plus minus in the West last season, and they were second best in the entire NBA, only to Boston, who won the championship.
right.
Um, and I will say this, we have the same level of talent as Boston, and we're
Yeah,
deeper than Boston this year.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I'm not saying we're the best team in the NBA, but that's where my head's going, and it's really scary because
Yeah,
like the only where we can go is down
yeah,
on and so it's like it scares the snot out of me, but at the same time it's like how do you not like
yeah, yeah.
they addressed
As
the Giddy thing, they addressed the rebounding deeper. They got steals in the draft, it looks like. Oh, by the way, did you see that the biggest steal in the draft? Did you, by the way, this the executive voting. Did you see that today?
no.
Okay. We got to talk about this real quick. Um, so every year, um, okay, hold on. Every year they do before the season, they vote like executives or teams or whatever. Um, they vote on who they think will be like the most fun or the MVP, the favorite to
Right.
win, all that stuff. Oh, where is that? Gosh darn. Um, no, it was just today. Oh, I've got to, dude. Oh my God, we've got to talk about this. Um, you can edit this out. Oh, here we go. It's the GM survey. Just pulled it up.
There it is.
Found it. Okay. This is the GM survey. Okay.
Okay.
The which team will win the 2025 NBA Finals? The Thunder are second favorites.
Wow.
Boston's first. Okay.
Right.
Which team will win the West? Oklahoma City has a large, like, is
Large
number
lead.
one on there.
Yeah.
Who will win the MVP? Has a large lead as number one. Who, if you were starting a franchise today, pick any player in the NBA, who would it be? Large lead for Vic, for Wimby.
Right. Right.
Shea is number two.
Wow.
Um, Let's see. Which player is most likely to have a breakout season? J-Dub is number one
Wow.
to
Let's
GMs.
go. Let's go.
Who is the best point guard in the NBA? Shea is number two. Who is the best shooting guard in the NBA? Shea is number three. Isn't that wild?
That's wild.
Hold on. There's more fun. Um, what is total votes on whatever. Okay. Which team had the best overall moves in the offseason? Oklahoma,
Thank
number
you,
one.
number one.
Um, which which one player will have the biggest impact? Alex Caruso. It was number
Mm,
four.
wow.
And Hartenstein also received votes. Most underrated player acquisition, Alex Caruso was number one. Hartenstein was number three. Um, Most improved. We didn't get any votes on that one. They said the Grizzlies, but that's just
Oh
because
yeah.
they
Morant.
just they got healthy. Um, and then there's a biggest steal. There's biggest steal of the draft. Topic came in tied for first.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, we haven't even talked about Topage.
Yeah, we haven't talked. And who's the best perimeter defender in the NBA? Caruso is number two. Lou Dort is number four.
So dumb. Who do they have at three?
Herb Jones, which is really, really good.
He's not Dort good. I'm sorry.
And Drew Holiday was number one. Um,
Okay.
so, but dude, like we literally all over the best defensive team in the NBA. They say Oklahoma City's number three. They say Boston's number one. We'll see
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't know about that.
We'll see. So
Yeah,
like
that's
this is
crazy.
the GM survey, and it's just the Oklahoma City's number two and the most fun team to watch. Best home court advantage, we're number two. Most efficient offense, we're number three. So it's like team with the most promising young core, by far number one,
Oh
we
yeah.
are.
Yeah, 100%. That's crazy. Well, dude, it's going to be
So
a fun year. There's no doubt. I mean, again, as long as the injury bug doesn't come up and as long as guys don't steal each other's wives, I think it should be a fun season. So, um, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait to have you see them in person and come back and give the report. So it is Beat Texas week. This is us. This is Just Okay Sports Podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Let's see if we can't come home with a golden hat. It should be interesting this weekend. Enjoy your time in Dallas, guys. We are having a great time. We hope you are too. I'm Daryl. That's Troy. We'll talk to you guys later.
bye MVP Baker.